and Jonah. And these people are people like us. They have families, they go to school, they go to work, they have bedtimes, right? They're people. They lived a long time ago, but they're people just like us. And when we hear stories about them and God's plan for them in the Bible, it reminds us that God has a plan for us too. So today's story is about Moses, and it's one of the first times in the Bible that you hear a story about God calling someone to speak on his behalf or to be his voice in the world. Moses and the burning bush. See it? Oh, good. Moses was watching his sheep in the hot, dry desert, and suddenly he saw a very strange sight. Flames of fire came from the bush, but the bush did not burn up. Moses squinted his eyes. He looked around the bush one way, and he looked around the bush the other way. Moses, Moses, said a loud voice. Moses was scared. Here I am, he said. Take off your shoes, the voice thundered. The place where you are standing is holy ground. Moses kicked off his sandals, keeping his eyes on the flaming bush. I am the God of your fathers, the voice said. Moses hid his face. He was afraid to look at God. I'd be scared too if there was a flaming bush talking to me, right? I have heard my people crying in Egypt, God said. My people are hurting, and I have come to save them. Wow, thought Moses. How will God do this? Go, said God. I am sending you to Pharaoh to ask him to let my people go. Me? Said Moses. Who am I to go to Pharaoh? Who am I to lead your people? He threw himself down on the ground before God, but he kept one eye on that burning bush. I will be with you, God said. Moses trusted God. He was willing to do everything God said. God gave Moses the words and the power he needed to talk to Pharaoh and lead the people out of Egypt. That's a cool story, right? Boys and girls, I'm wondering, this story made me wonder, are you a good listener? Okay, I'm going to tell you, I'm not. I am not the best listener. I try to be, though. And listening is important, we know. People probably tell you that all the time. Be a good listener, like when you go to school. Make sure you listen to the directions. So listening, we know, is important, but it's a skill. And just like anything else, like batting or catching or reading or writing, it's something that you can practice to get better at. You can practice it. Listening is a skill, and it takes practice. And to be honest, I do practice it. I really try to be a better listener. And it's something you have to try to do, and you can practice it. It's a skill. So this week, I want you to practice being a good listener. Practice listening. And it might be listening to your mom or dad or listening to the directions. And it might be listening to your friend or your brother and sister. Maybe when somebody's telling you about their feelings, that's a good time to be a good listener. And it might be you could go outside and practice listening in nature, listening to the birds or the wind. I can hear the wind right now, blowing the leaves in the trees. Listening takes practice. So your job this week is to practice listening. Okay? All right. So boys and girls, it's time for our prayer. Loving God, we hear you when you call us. We hear you when you calm our fear. We hear you when you ask us to do your work in the world. Help us to keep listening. Amen. Boys and girls, what's God's plan for you? And when he tells you